Gender equality in the political sphere is considered as one of the most important content key creating opportunities for women to speak the voice representing their gender, prove their capacity and experience, express their views on the policy decision in different aspects of the country. It also contributes a solid foundation for promoting gender equality in all spheres of social life. If the world has Hillary Clinton, Angela Merkel, the names like Tôn Nữ Thị Ninh, Nguyễn Thị Bình also makes the world's politicians respect. Vietnamese women have proven themselves in many fields, not just domestically, but in the international arena. Building an environment to encourage and attract the participation of women in politics is the main content of the program today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Showing Vietnam on VTC10 Net Viet. Vietnam has achieved more success in gender equality, providing more opportunities for women to prove themselves, whether it's in business or politics, with an increasing percentage of women parliamentarians participating in the National Assembly. We're here today with the Ambassador of Canada to Vietnam, Mr. David Devine, and he will share with us on his view about how we can enhance the role of women in politics. Thank you, Your Excellency, for joining us today. Been working in Vietnam for the past 3 years. What are your views on the role of women in the society of Vietnam? Is there any positive changes regarding with the public awareness and public perceptions about women?
Well, thank you very much for having me today. It's great to be here to talk to you about this very important issue. But when you look at women and the role that they are in society, they're extremely important, and certainly I see it in Vietnam. More so than many countries. It is the women that form the basis, the foundation of the family support, but they really don't get those higher paying jobs. They don't get those access to decision making that they surely do deserve. And that's the type of thing that we have to start looking at more carefully. It used to be many years ago, having master's and graduate degrees and undergraduate degrees was the majority were men. Today it's the majority of women. So they've shown clearly that they have the competencies, the abilities to be able to do those sorts of things.
The image of women in Vietnam and in the world generally have been enhanced a lot, and women are given more opportunities to prove themselves in politics, in business. What are the strengths that you think women leaders will bring to the table?
Well, I hope that they're given the opportunity, and I hope that they're given the encouragement to do so. But by and large, when I see, the women of Vietnam, I see a very strong personality. They are the foundation here in Vietnam of the family, and they hold the family together in many respects. And the type of person that I've seen has that unique ability to be able to handle all of those various different components of the family is well suited to be able to do the same thing on a societal basis. And I'm very, very impressed by the quality, the character, the intelligence of Vietnam and Vietnamese women, particularly those that are striving for political office.
What do you think are the characteristics that makes a successful woman politician?
Well, that's an interesting question, because it's the same thing true for a man. When you hear someone speak definitively that they clearly understand the problems and the issues, and they're proactively contributing to be able to find the solutions, working with their colleagues, working with society, that makes a successful politician, because they're connected with the issues of the day, and they are trying to be able to find ways of being able to solve those particular problems. My dealings with women representatives of the National Assembly, by and large, very enthusiastic, very articulate, very intelligent, and do bring to the table those types of issues effectively in many respects.
Recently, the Permanent Bureau of Vietnam Fatherland Front and the Central Executive Committee of the Vietnam Women Union signed a cooperation program to increase the percentage of women parliamentarians in the 14th National Assembly and female deputies in the People's Councils at all levels for the period 2016 to 2021. As a result, to 2020, the striving number of women participation is 35% to 40%, in accordance with the goal 35% of women deputies at the National Assembly and People's Council in the National Strategy for Gender Equality 2011 to 2020.
If you have women in parliament, they know what are the problems of women, whether it's about violence, it's about reproductive health, whether it's about their children. They understand more because they have, by nature, it is in themselves. So if you have women parliamentarians, you can have parliamentarians that can understand the problems of almost 50% of their population. But I would like to say that men parliamentarians should also get involved in the women issues.
Currently, the percentage of women deputies in National Assembly is 24.4%. Female representatives at Provincial People's Council is 25.7%. District level is 24.6%. And at grassroots is 27.7%. To achieve the government's vision and developing capacities of women deputies in the administrative apparatus is still a long distance.
Chúng ta có thể là có những cái mục tiêu, những cái chỉ số rất là cao. Thế nhưng mà cái việc mà chuẩn bị cho cán bộ để ứng cử vào với những cái vị trí đấy thì chúng ta chưa có sự chuẩn bị cẩn thận, dẫn đến khi mà chúng ta thực hiện bầu cử thì cái tỷ lệ nó không đạt như là chúng ta mong muốn. Tôi cho rằng là cái số lượng nó không quan trọng bằng cái chất lượng. Cái việc mà 35% đấy nó phải đi kèm với là chất lượng ứng cử viên đủ để đảm bảo khi mà họ được ứng cử thì họ sẽ ở những cương vị nào.
I once chaired a gender equality committee in the Council of Europe, and we were talking about trains or teapots. When you teach physics, do you teach about trains or do you teach about kettles boiling in the kitchen? Which might sound a very gendered kind of approach, but it makes young women more interested in the physics of a kettle boiling rather than in the steam power of a train. And so if you introduce these things as possibilities at a young age and you get equal numbers of boys and girls on school representative bodies, you have to build from the ground. It's not going to be an overnight sort of achievement.
Besides propagating awareness about gender equality to key officials in the sector localities, women on their position should be active in politics, boldly reach out to different social groups to express their political opinions, ability, and capacity.
Recently, the Fatherland Front Vietnam and the Vietnam Women Union signed a cooperation program contributes to increase the percentage of women parliamentarians in the 14th National Assembly. What are your views on the effort of Vietnamese government in increasing the role of women in the national executive apparatus?
Well, you know, in Vietnam, like many places around the world, women are underrepresented in government, among leaders, you know, in ministries that make those, and it is even the civil service, you know, the executive levels. Women are generally underrepresented. And I think it's very, very important that type of initiative be used in order to be able to promote women in those positions of leadership. And for us, you know, to be able to look at how change happens and making sure that legally they're able to participate fully in government and in all those ranges of public life and private life as well too. You know, taking actions like that particular initiative is a way to start focusing attention. It's really important, I think, that and I support very much those types of initiatives.
How do you think that the fact that the more women are taking part in the National Assembly shows Vietnam is gradually achieving gender equality and thus will bring more prosperity to a country like Vietnam.
But they bring to the table different issues than men. And that's a very important thing from a government's perspective. If it attempts to be able to represent the entire society and you have not much representation of women, you're not really representing all the issues, or you're not representing all of your society, and that's a very important point. But the issue of gender equality is not only a question of human rights, but it's an essential component to sustainable development of social justice, peace and security of every single country.
What are some experiences of Canada in enhancing the role of female politicians?
This year we celebrate 100 years since the first woman in Canada gained the right to vote. So it's 100 years of experience, and some of that time it's been uneven. It has been growing. In Canada, for instance, the Prime Minister just announced his cabinet, and 50% of them were women and 50% of them were men. We have work to do, as every country does. We have 88 female members of our parliament, and its representation is about 26%, which is, while a small gain of percentage over the last election, it's not enough, clearly. And we have to be able to continue to be able to work. So if governments around the world do recognize that it needs to be addressed, it really does add to the confidence of women, the encouragement of them to be able to continue to become members of parliament, members of National Assembly, in order to be able to provide that balanced representation. One of the areas that we should be looking at is doing more research in the types of things that interest women, enable them to be able to become more engaged in political representation.
Could you share with us about the activities of the Canadian Embassy in enhancing the role of women leaders in society of Vietnam?
We have placed a high priority on gender equality, and the work that we do at home and abroad is very, very important, and we recognize the investment in women is girls' investment in our society as a whole. We have supported, for instance, particularly Vietnam, the work with the Ministry of Finance to support training and the integration of gender equality into budget planning and decision making. We have, through our Canada Fund for Local Initiatives as well, to supported many projects on the rights of girls and women, children at risk, forced marriages, domestic violence issues, combating human trafficking, and protecting the rights of domestic workers. So we have a wide range of various different programs that attempt to be able to address this at its foundations.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for all your sharing today. Hopefully, with the support of Canada, Vietnam will gradually achieve more success in gender equality by bringing more participation and contributions of women politicians into the national executive apparatus.
Thank you very much.
And that's the end for our program today. Thank you so much for watching us. Hopefully, you have more information regarding on the work that Vietnam has done in order to achieve gender equality by bringing more women participation into the political leadership of the country. Any questions and recommendations, please email to shangvietnam@netvietv.net. Thank you and see you again.